Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Comrade Brown. And also I want to acknowledge Comrade Kuchekwa, the director responsible for elections and mobilization in the Commissariat Department, and more importantly, to welcome you, members of the press, to this press briefing. I'm going to touch on two issues. One is to do with the restructuring of party organs. And secondly, I'll talk about the recently completed primary elections in two constituencies of Harare province, that is Mount Pleasant and Harare East constituencies. Now, to start with the restructuring exercise, the Zanu PF party has not given any authority for provinces to embark on any form of restructuring of any of its organs. And this, I want to repeat, that the party has not given any authority to provinces to embark on any restructuring of its party organs, and that the Commissariat Department will soon issue a circular calling for provinces to embark on the restructuring of cells and villages. It has come to our notice that in some provinces, some leaders have already started mobilizing our membership in restructuring party districts as well as district coordinating committees, DCCs. We are very far from that because focus at the moment is directed on the establishment or restructuring of cells and villages. That is the exercise that is on at the moment, because it is an important exercise. Firstly, because it conforms to our constitutional requirement that we restructure cells and villages once every year. And secondly, that any internal elections that will follow have to use an authentic, verified voters' roll. And presently, our voters' roll is predicated on our cell registers. Therefore, it is important that all our party members participate in the restructuring of cells, because they will then constitute the voters' roll that will be used for any election, could be it the executive of the cells, of the branches, of the districts, of the DCCs, even up to provinces. And of course, any by-election that can come, be it of councillors, be it of members of parliament, we will be using the same voters' roll. So it is important that this voters' roll is authentic and is also verified. So that's the first issue I wanted to cover. The second issue is to do with the primary elections that were held yesterday in Mount Pleasant and Harare East. You recall that following the proclamation by His Excellency the President, who is also the first secretary of the party, Comrade Dr. E.D. Mnangagwa, declaring the vacancies in Mount Pleasant and Harare East, the party went on as usual to start the processes of coming up with candidates that will battle it out with the opposition in April this year to fill those two vacancies. We invited candidates from our membership, those who met the criteria, to come forward and apply for consideration and submit their curriculum vitae to Harare province. The Harare province, sitting as a provincial elections directorate, considered these CVs. They were not supposed to reject any of these, but they were supposed to make comments and recommendations in terms of their suitability, in terms of the set guidelines and the set criteria for candidates intending to be our representatives as members of parliament. The same CVs were then submitted to our security department here at head office for a vetting process, after which the same was then submitted to the National Elections Directorate, which I chair. And obviously the objective was to consider the report from the provinces, from the Harare province, and also the report from the security department. The National Elections Directorate considered these submissions and also made its recommendations, which were then submitted to the Presidium, and following which His Excellency the President then approved a number of candidates to stand for primary elections in the Mount Pleasant and Harare East constituencies. In Harare East, we had two candidates. And in Mount Pleasant constituency, we had 4 candidates. The necessary preparations were done in good time. Ballot papers and stationery distributed in good time. We deployed members of the Central Committee from Harare Province to man the various polling stations. We also had personnel from the commissariat also accompanying these teams. We had Politburo members who were the team leaders in playing the supervisory roles in these elections. In Mount Pleasant, we had Comrade Chris Mutsangwa supervising those elections. In Harare East, we had Comrade Super Mandiwanzira leading the team in supervising those elections. Both Comrade Mutsangwa and Comrade Super Mandiwanzira were satisfied that the elections were conducted smoothly and very peacefully. Like in any election, there could be 1 or 2 complaints, and these have been dealt with thoroughly. And I would like to then announce the 2 winning candidates. In Harare East, the winner was Comrade Kiven Mutimbanyoka, and in Mount Pleasant constituency, it was Comrade George Mashavave. And these 2 candidates should now proceed to prepare their nomination papers so that they are ready for the nomination court, which will be sitting on Tuesday, the 26th of March, 2024. So they only have 1 day, which is tomorrow, to do those preparations. The Commissariat is very grateful to the Politburo and Central Committee members and the election personnel who worked diligently in conducting these primary elections. These primary elections were once again a demonstration of the democratic nature of the manner Zanu PF has always conducted itself in its internal elections. I want to thank our membership for heeding the call to come out and vote for the candidates of their own choice. As we have said time and again, that Zanu PF doesn't believe in imposing candidates, but encourages eligible party cadres to exercise their vote freely and peacefully. And therefore, once again, to thank all those who participated. And now that the primary elections are behind us, we would want all those competing groups now to come together as we now campaign for Zanu PF representatives who will now go and battle it out with the opposition in April this year. As we campaign, we are campaigning for Zanu PF. And therefore, we would like to call upon all our members to rally around those candidates that have been successful, so that, again, we register victory come April by elections. Lastly, to thank you all members of the media present at this media briefing, where you have spared your precious time